teams in the greater picture. Now we have a map veto, by the way. We saw Clubhouse first, Coastline second. Where are we going to go? Well, there goes Clubhouse, and we're going to go back to Coastline. So, just by virtue of it being Cafe versus Coastline, unsurprising.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Coastline.
And to build on what you were saying earlier when it comes to the points, people always say it's still the beginning of the season, you have your whole second half, you don't need to worry about it. But I gotta say, when you start off with the way that these two teams have started off, and then if this turns into a draw, that is a huge blow long term. Like, you won't see it until we get to the end, but it'll be such a large impact. What do you think? Who's gonna win? Why don't you just go ahead and give us your opinion? There you go.
That would be my choice as well. I went in assuming that it's probably not going to be a draw. PENTA are a team that I think have played below their expectations and have played below their standings, and because of this, expect them to at some point start to pick it back up. Mousesports haven't shown me anything that has led me to believe that they have sorted out their issues. They're currently sitting at, after 2 play days, a -10. Through 2 play days, the worst you could be is -14, which means that they are pretty close to as bad as it could get. So if we're trying to build in your mind the expectations of what this matchup means, well, know that over 2 play days, Mouse has won 4 rounds. That's it. And that is not a very good number.
It's a very low sum.
You don't even need to be a Rainbow Six analyst to know that 4, in comparison to 14, is low. So
what are you going to do? I mean, again, Mouse, I think you put it well when you said they haven't shown us anything to suggest that they will have a good, footing in this match. Whereas PENTA, on the other hand, again, they've managed to do, it looks like they've had a decent run, 9 rounds over their 2 losses. So that's them actually pushing for competition, and that's against Empire and Na'Vi. So, I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad. It shows that they have some bite. So I'm not surprised by the community vote either. I mean, lately they haven't been that off, actually. We've seen some upsets. Actually, last week we did see some major upsets, especially in North America.
North America is just the Wild West right now.
But you guys have been, I think, right, 2 for 0 so far today, if I'm not mistaken. So
yep. 2 for 2.
Yeah.
2 for 2 on the day, and this is a good map for PENTA as well.
2 for 2, sorry.
This is a good map for PENTA.
Oh, that's true.
They have been strong, traditionally, on Coastline for ages. You go back quite a ways, and they are typically pretty good. Whereas I don't have the same confidence in Mouse on this map. So there's a lot of things working in favor of PENTA. Now, time and time again, we say this. Just because something looks good doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be good. And there's a possibility that you have a lot going in your favor, and maybe you just have a bad day, or maybe one of your players has a bad day, or maybe you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's something that we're gonna watch, but we're ready to get into the matchup, and we'll start with our third match here on Coastline. Mouse versus PENTA.
So neither of these teams have played this map so far through this season. So this is going to be a first time in Season 10 for both. But, of course, long history since before this. It's just going to be, I think, it's going to come down to if Mouse have something new to show for us in terms of just like basic gameplay. Because when you have a situation where you've only run 4 rounds over 2 matches, what that screams to me is not necessarily... It's not necessarily, just to finish with, it's not necessarily the case that it has anything to do with your map specifically, as much as it has to do with your basic team, fundamentals, your coordination, your teamwork, your calls, really, grassroots stuff. That's what Mouse needs to improve if they want to stand a chance here against PENTA, in my mind, based on what we've seen from them so far. There's potential for it. We won't know until we see them play.
Yeah, and we'll have to wait at least a couple more minutes until we get back into Coastline. It happens. People are apparently wanting to leave Coastline in a hurry.
Yeah, with the Hicks disconnects earlier in the previous...
The hiccups?
Yes. And now I believe that was probably what the cursor bug I didn't notice what
No,
they said.
cursor bug is gone.
Did they really
It
fix
was
that
a
one?
game crash. Yeah, cursor
game
bug.
crash. Didn't
The
see it.
cursor bug and drop shotting were patched out last week.
That's really cool. I know about the drop shot. I didn't hear about the cursor bug.
Well, now you know.
Now I know. The more you
No.
know. It's great. Good job to Ubisoft. They do. By the way, that's really quick.
That was fast.
Yeah, like the speed at which those are getting fixed these days, great. But unfortunately, we have a crash, and so we didn't even get to see the bands.
No bans.
There's not a lot to talk about.
At that point.
Coastline hasn't been played, so there's not a lot of history to reference through this season.
You lean off of what Corey said in his interview, right? About Coastline being a very frag-heavy map. We knew this.
He found something.
It shouldn't surprise any of you. What is the team that frags better? Well, typically, I would say probably Mouse, given the players on the roster, but Penta is a team that can be very brutal and effective in the tools that they use. You know that they bring fast operators, Hungry in particular. If he brings a Montaigne, if he brings a Ying, he's definitely got something up his sleeve.
Blaz is going to be a pretty heavy fragger. I think.
Blaz made mincemeat in his
Yeah.
very first matchup, I guess, this season on Cafe.
He's one of the more mechanically gifted players out there. I think if in this match he's up there. But yeah, you're right. Mouse has some contenders as well. Gomfi, Chate, definitely some of the more like the people who you know can really hit their shots consistently.
Yep.
So it is gonna, sure, lean on those fraggers. But I think a lot of it also will come down to your refrag potential. And again, when we're talking about basic teamwork, I think that advantage is going to go ever so slightly in this favor of Penta. I think they're going to be able to work off of each other a lot more. At least that's what I'm going to... I think, based on what we've seen so far this season, that's only 2 matches for each team, so that's not a whole lot to work on.
I think the big thing will be just an exhilarating brawl between these teams.
This will be probably the
think
closest.
I think I think rounds will be quick. I expect lots of action. I expect lots of vertical play. I expect lots of soft destruction, possible quick executes, lots of taking the fights. I think that's going to be a pretty significant focus. Yes, can I help you?
Lots of siege. Yeah.
They will be under siege. That's correct.
Yes. Much siege gameplay. Once we get there. I think this is also, by the way, probably going to be the closest match we've had today. That's not exactly a hard prediction to make, given that we had a 7-through and a 7-3.
Did you say a 7-through? Like, that's not a number.
I started to want to say 7-3, and then I transitioned to 7-2 before, and then I went to do the 7-3 later.
Through? It's the number between 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Just slide that one right in there.
No, but yeah, anyway, we had a 7-2 and a 7-3, so we've had some really one-sided matches, and I expect this one to be probably the closest match of the day.
Yeah, well, then because match 4, it's going to be G-Thu versus Navi.
You said between. We're not changing numbers now. We're not doing that, Parker. It's G2, all right? It dies now.
All right, it's dead.
Killed it. So, we're still waiting on everybody to get ready. We can go into the match. And Coastline, really interesting map.
I'm actually surprised this European heatwave has not overheated more computers.
You know, actually, that could be it. Yeah, because I
genuinely am surprised. Like,
my computer crashed because it overheated.
It's like 30-something degrees in like a huge portion of Europe right now.
Heat wave. Woo.
Yeah. Welcome to the new normal. So all these computers are overheating, and it's like you take a look at some point, and you open it up, and you're like, how hot is it?
I don't have AC.
Yeah, we don't have AC. Europe doesn't have AC.
They expect to only need a heater here, and they should only expect to need a heater.
Fans and breezes.
I don't have AC. I have a fan, though. That is... Oh, wow. Bought a fan. Super happy with that investment.
Would you say you're a fan?
What is with you and the puns today? Like, they're nonstop. You're just rattling them off, man.
It's the heat at this
Is it get into your head?
The heat
Okay.
It has consumed my brain.
And it's not letting go.
You know, you can't even say it. It's like, you can't even be like, it's not the heat. It's the humidity. Because it's not even humid here. It's like a dry
Not
heat.
really, yeah.
You just like sit up there and you just like cook alive. And you're like, all right, this is my life now.
It is really weird, though. I mean, yeah, very, very hot. It's the hottest summer I've experienced in Poland so far. I think so.
I feel like there was a period of time last year where we were at like high 30s.
I remember last year it was causing problems, serious problems, because okay, so we sleep during the middle of the day, and there was just
Depending on
so,
what broadcast we're on, there
right.
were lots of times where most of the week we're sleeping during the day.
But it was causing so many issues because it would get so hot that you're like, you just can't.
I'm the type of person, I need to sleep with a blanket over me. Like, I can't.
Gotta have that pressure.
I have friends that can just they can collapse, right? Like,
yeah.
But like that's not me. Like, I need like a coziness kind of factor, you know?
Is it because you're inner Canadian? Well, being Canadian, just used to that.
I don't understand that reference.
North, cold.
It's not that. I mean, it's not. Toronto gets kind of hot, but no, I need that. And it's like now imagine it's 36 degrees, and it's like because you're sleeping during the day, you have blackout curtains, so you can't open the window.
Yeah.
So you can't have a breeze. So you're at the mercy of like a single fan.
It is. You got to have that fan though. If you don't, then it's just no sleep whatsoever. Just quick update. Still waiting on everybody to get in. Apparently, we can say this. We just have some technical issues with some players trying to launch their game, and hopefully those will subside in due time. But yeah, it's really hot. Coastline's interesting. I bet it's really hot in Spain.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
But they've got the ocean right there. They've got
a breeze.
They got a pool, which, you know.
Or like a pool. Yeah.
They got a pool or the ocean.
Probably.
You always find it odd that they get like those island resorts and there's like an ocean around it and they're like, you know what? We need some place to swim.
Yeah.
Let's build a pool. And you're like,
it's right there.
There's so many places to swim.
But salt water, you'll be fine.
You float better.
Really?
Don't you float better in salt water?
I don't know anything about that.
Fun fact, I've never swam in salt water.
Really? Like, have you ever been to the ocean, though, and, like, gone into... You've never swam in it?
I've waded into the ocean, but I've never, like, fully swam.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you do that thing where you kind of walk out, and then you get a little of the waves, and they're like, this is intimidating, and you turn around and go back onto the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that.
I waded in. I walked into the ocean. I've never been to the Atlantic Ocean.
I think I have.
Only the Pacific.
Because no, yeah, I have. Because Sao Paulo, I believe, right? Am I getting them mixed up? No, that's...
It'd be the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
I've been in the Pacific in Vancouver and L.A.
I've been to Pacific in the Bay as well as L.A., I believe.
Well, you're from California.
It's a long time ago.
I'm like in the middle of the country.
Right. Fair enough.
I've been to the Great Lakes.
I have
not really oceans.
I went to Vancouver, but I was like 5.
So that was like 2 years ago.
This is what I live with.
This is what we live with.
Fair enough.
Well, we have a break ready, so we're going to throw to a break now while we try to sort all this out. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Sit tight.
Bye.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's start the game and get into Coastline and then get Mouse versus Penta underway. Thank you so much for your patience. Believe me, it's really appreciated. It looks like we're ready, and we're going to start things off. And maybe, hopefully, we could crack out a ban or two. And then maybe play 7 to 14, 7 to 12 rounds.
That would be exciting.
Yeah.
14 would be cool if it were to happen, but it can't. I don't think, because you get max 12. Pretty sure.
Yeah, my numbers were off. I was thinking 14 is still the number of rounds that you could be down if you lost 7-7.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. All right, ban phase is starting. Nobody's gone just yet, so it looks like we're going to get at least the first ban underway. It's going to be Penta who banned first. Capital gone. That is in no way surprising. Penta apparently starting on defense and puts Mouse on attack. Now, with Capital gone, it'll be a Blackbeard for the second one. And, well, okay, Blackbeard, so a lot of people count him out, I would say, right, in his current state.
Very surprised that Mouse would use that on a Blackbeard and not like a Ying or a Monty or even...
It doesn't blow my mind away.
It doesn't...
Sometimes you just don't want to play against somebody who can block headshots.
The Clash makes a lot of sense against Penta, so that's pretty understandable. And then Echo. Oh, Michael.
What?
Mira is available.
Oh, yeah, look at that. It's Europe and Mira's available. Okay, so that's interesting. Mira. Okay, on this map, on Coastline, Mira can be useful. So we'll see if she will come into use early on, or if she's going to be completely ignored. Because again, the thing is, here's the thing with Mira. So when she's not banned, it can also be the case that she doesn't get used, because again, most teams don't practice with her anymore. And sometimes they will practice with her, have pocket strats with her, but it's not something that is run consistently, I find. You can definitely always incorporate her. It's not like her strategies are complicated, but it does change up the way that you play, that's for sure. So it's probably going to be the sort of thing that the defenders will do every once in a while, maybe not as consistently as we once saw back when Mira first came out. So, starting off here at Billiards Hookah, or Pool Table Hookah. And Penta have decided to bring the Mute, but not the Mozzie. You've seen that combination, again, be so very powerful on multiple maps. Mouse are going to bring the Gridlock in lieu of a Capital or a Nomad. Capital can be useful in removing people off of certain positions, so can those Stingers. Nomad can be useful at doing the same or holding down flanks, so can those Stingers. So kind of a multi-purpose operator in that Gridlock. And that's why we see her played so frequently as of late. IQ going to be very important, despite the Echo ban. You got those Mute Jammers, and there's General Electronics in the ADSs as well.
Wondering what role Jonas is going to play in terms of entry here, given that it's likely going to be Gomfi and Sleben being point for Mouse. I mean, at least the Sledge-Ash combo is likely going to do that. Any kind of entry here into the office downstairs might be thwarted, given the fact that Penta is playing on the hatch above. In particular, that was Revan that was in that position. Gomfi's going to waste no time and vault right in the kitchen window, and he's already in the building. It also looks like the Ash is in the building as well, as Gomfi circles around towards the main lobby and then looks up the stairs. Could shuffle on over there at any point, as he's got a couple angles that he's going to try to keep an eye on. Still, Revan, great patience. Over a minute just staring at this doorway, and it actually looks like he might have missed the entry of Jonas, who could clutch this one for his team. But no, Gomfi spotted downstairs. He'd entered on his own. He didn't really have much of a drone escort, was just simply trying to face check it, and in the process takes 50 HP away from Blast, but ultimately Gomfi falls, and that's the only set of frag grenades that you have available for mousesports.
Now, of course, Jonas, you know him from G2, coming back to his long-lost Finnish roster of mousesports. Jonas actually did play for this team way back in a galaxy far, far away, and was actually one of the first Finnish players taken away from mousesports, then known as Sisu, and put onto what is now the G2 roster, but he's made his way all the way back to his start, in a way, here, which is interesting. He's going to be trying to clear out the roamers downstairs by the main lobby. That's Balas, who's actually... Oh, this is some really unfortunate timing for Jonas. Oh, wow. Just narrowly missed out on a kill there. He doesn't know it, of course, as he is entering into this main lobby solo. No drone from his teammate. Could have capitalized on that potential kill, but Blast seems to be aware of his flank right now and trying to hold the angle. He might be able to get a free kill himself now, and yes, indeed, he will. There goes Jonas, and almost a second, but Slevin gets the shutdown there onto Blaz. Beautiful teamwork from Mouse. Despite losing one player, they will manage to maintain at least some control on their flank. Oh no. Sir Boss using the Evil Eye to eliminate Slevin on low HP. It's looking really bad for Mouse right now.
I don't even think Bonesy knows where the Evil Eye is either. Let's climb on up toward the bomb chassis, and for the anti-flank of Shate as the track stingers go down. You've got Revan with the shotgun here, still in very powerful position with Hungry farther back. 2v4 favoring Penta for the time being, and this is a damning position to find Mouse, especially with the utility. And the way Hungry's playing along with Revan, the two SAS operators will swiftly show Mouse the door. And very first round will go towards Penta. It took us almost 30 minutes for the first round to end now. But
oh yeah, it's true.
Penta waited. Penta really waited.
A good job to Penta playing passively on the site for 30 whole minutes and allowing that round to conclude in their favor. Unfortunate that Mouse couldn't make those make that time work in their favor. Now, that round was very how should I put this? It happened very quickly. Despite the attack from Mouse being somewhat slower than you would expect, they were losing bodies rapidly throughout the entire duration of that attack. From start to finish, it just seemed like every once in a while, Mouse would lose a player. And Penta managed to maintain such a strong advantage that there was no footing for mousesports, from mousesports, I should say. The only thing they really managed to accomplish was getting control of Aquarium, which is it's kind of, I'd say most teams treat that as a foregone conclusion. So, you expect the attack to get control of Aquarium. It just depends on how you handle it after that. And Penta handled that really well. They managed to punish mousesports for getting that control. And, well, it allowed them to take the round in stride. Now we're going to go into the double bar. Another one of the more popular sites on this map, as it is definitely a viable strategy, or sorry, rather, I should say, a viable site. The only thing about this site that is I say difficult is that it requires more coordination, more teamwork, and a better setup than you can expect from some lesser teams. However, at this level, everyone knows how to defend double bar. And again, when you know how to defend it, it's a very, very strong site. And the setup here from Penta will be primarily a vertical roam play. You could see enemy trying to play through this drone hole, and he might be able to get a free kill, but he's actually going to be punished for that angle. Slevin, a beautiful shot there, takes down enemy. And now, mousesports the ones with the advantage.
That's the kind of entry you need to be able to take somebody out of play from Penta and not allow them to continue to steamroll and run it back now. As you've got two bodies from Mouse positioned over towards the Aqua side of things. Revan guns down Slevin. The Ash will not go anywhere. And Mouse have really struggled with getting a body in alongside of a drone and not getting jumped upon.
Yeah, the droning for each other thing is happening less than you would expect or require from Mouse.
It's a synergy that will need to develop as well, adding Jonas to the mix, losing Wilkie. It's hard to overstate the loss of an IGL. But as you see Shate down below, looking at the bomb chassis inside of Blue Bar, while the rest of Mouse is looking above. But it also seems like there's very minimal droning happening. Don't really inspire much confidence from Mouse, and they're just going to continue to walk right in. There goes a smoke. Hungry will toss out a toxic canister. It sails just by Jonas, and Bonesy in the cover in the corner of the room will start to go for the plant. I think Penta's understanding this. That's why Sir Boss fires on in, but all of his shots will miss. And win or lose this round, at least the diffuser goes down for Mouse. Still, as the smoke is about to clear, Sir Boss looking to find a target, but can't quite see it yet. He's going to get chewed up in the process as Revan now goes for the flank. Get through security. Trying to find somebody. He might be able to get one or two inside of office. Nobody's looking the right way, but Bonesy's holding the door. Jonas locks out Hungry. And Penta falling behind his Gumpy finds one too. And now Sir Boss, on a tiny bit of HP, will push on up, and it's Bouncy to shut him down. Diffuser down, and Mouse will clean up the rest of the kills, and we'll be tied up 1-1.
All right, here we go. No one taking the match away decisively early on. mousesports did a lot of work there coming in from office. After they established there were no roamers in Aquarium, they knew they didn't have to worry about vertical pressure. They simply pushed into office, started picking apart all of the counter plant utility, such as the evil eyes that were in a position to deny that plant. Once that job had been done, they went for a plant just inside of Blue Bar, using those smokes for cover. Well coordinated by Mouse. Definitely a shallow strategy, and by that I mean it doesn't seem like Mouse had to put a lot of thought into it, but it was well executed. And that's all that really matters when it comes down to it. A big part there is that Penta didn't have anything in a position to deny the diffuser plant. It's very significant. Now, the smokes were poorly placed, expecting there to be a plant behind the Blue Bar. The Evil Eyes either not activated or more likely destroyed by mousesports. So there you go. That's Penta's own Echo Band working against them. Mira is a relevant operator on that site. However, I don't think she necessarily would have changed things given the way that the smokes were played. I think just what would have been better there for, for Penta would have been somebody playing by open area. I mean, we saw Ravon in the bathroom, right? He was holding the angle towards security. Somebody plays by main lobby or in open area. The Blue Bar wall is open. They can see the planter probably. The smoke might be covering, but you know where the plant location is. Like, even if it's not behind the bar, it was still on that angle. If you're in open area, where the plant went down there was on the same exact angle as behind the bar if you're on that. So it just, yeah, it's odd that wasn't used from Penta. I'm guessing they didn't hear the plant or unaware, but the smoke kind of broadcasts the intention. Anyway, Slebin, first kill of the round, going on to Hungary. I'm surprised. I can't believe we didn't mention Slebin as one of those people who wins their gunfights more often than not on mousesports. He really is one of those heavy fraggers.
And Slebin came in last season to Mouse to join the team and try to shoulder some of the load after you'd said goodbye to Uno on the roster. And it was a tricky situation for him to find himself in. Speaking of tricky situation, Shate finds himself in a bit of trouble, and while he's gone, smoke off the boards, track stingers off the boards, flank watch off the boards, all of that because of Shate going down, and he evens us back out at 4v4, 2 minutes to go.
A little bit of a standoff here inside of kitchen. Penta might actually not be aware of Slebin's location. I would be surprised if Ravon gives himself away here, and he's just trying to bait out some pre-fires there from Slebin, as you can see. Quick peeking the corner, trying to find the location of his opponent. He really needs to cross here. You can see that Ravon is trying to get back so he can apply pressure to the A-bomb site, which is the clear target of mousesports right now. But because Slebin is playing inside of kitchen, he is doing a great job of cutting off said rotation. Gomfi in main lobby means that the open area is not an option for the defense as well, which means Penta have to rely on their evil eyes considering the smoke is dead. This is a dream situation for mousesports. Everything covered, everything accounted for, no denial in a good position. This should be a very easy take for mousesports, but they could still mess it up yet.
I don't think anybody's discovered Revan playing at the bottom of Cool Vibe Stairs. He's just sitting and waiting very patiently, but he and Slebin are about to engage in a battle to the death. Slebin's position gets given away. Enemy knows that there's a plant going down. Oh no, enemy! There you go. Tap away at what little was remaining of Bonesy. Diffuser falls and it's in the middle of the site. That's a hard retrieval for mousesports, so everything going in their favor, but could very quickly slip away. Still. 35 seconds in the calm before the storm now as Gomfi tries to find his intended target. A second kill for Slebin on the Sir Boss. Blaz engaged in this fight, has stim pistols available, and there's not going to be too much there. Revan just barely missing the foot of Gomfi, will continue to crawl away, seeking some help. Slebin capitalizes upon Ravon looking the other direction, and it's 3 kills for the Finn. He'll continue to push on forward as the rotate will come out from both enemy as well as Blast. Slebin finds kill number 4. Quad kill, looking for the other, but he's got his back turned to Blast. He won't be able to find the ace. Blast goes in, has the marks, downs one, looks for the other. Oh, but he's a dock and he won't be able to get picked up as Jonas will secure. And mousesports, very, very close. Very, very close, Michael. But they pull through in the end off of just an absolute knockdown, drag him out fight inside of the courtyard into Blue Bar.
Really nice save there from Jonas. newest player on the roster, but also one of the most veteran in the entire scene. And him proving it in that round. Now, everything looked good for mousesports there, but it started to fall apart a little bit when they over-adjusted to that vertical pressure being applied by the Alibi. It was a nice holdout from PENTA for a decent chunk there. They managed to use the open area a lot more. It's impressive that they managed to retake that. Again, that comes down to Gomfi falling off of the main lobby. He was in a position to deny open area. He left that. I'm not entirely certain why. Again, I think it was over-adjustment to the vertical pressure. He ended up being killed in open area. Well, yeah, he ended up being killed in open area. Downed, picked up, then killed. There were some major mistakes, of course. That Alibi trying to retake open area, impacting the wall. That should have been 2 kills there for free, but some shots missed, unfortunately, for PENTA and their fans. Overall, just mousesports. We were talking about the fragging potential, winning their gunfights in those key situations. Well done to them. PENTA, a little bit, yeah. Some very minor mistakes. I mean, man, the thing that keeps coming back to my head is that mousesports had the perfect setup, then they threw it away, and then they won anyway. Now, we'll be going back to Hookah.
They'll test their mettle on Hookah here, which was a very successful site for PENTA the very first time around. It was a lockout. I think there was 4 remaining members of PENTA, if I recall, at the end of that altercation between them.
Yeah, it was a solid holdout for PENTA. Now, Mouse is trying to take control of Sunrise. They've already done that. With control of Sunrise, what they could do is start opening up underneath Hookah from below using this Ash. They're going to do that right now. There you go. Hungry not going to eat any damage from that, but he will be forced to relocate. You can see that the Ash was careful not to open the drop down, so there's no rotation potential here for PENTA to retake Sunrise later in the round. Might open up later just to try and force everyone out of Hookah, but one step at a time.
I don't know if they droned Hungry at all. I don't know. He's that deep in sight. He had died early on as the smoke in a previous round, but this time he's staying a bit safer, which being protected up there is a smart idea. I guess you could say fortified, secured, etc. Mouse didn't like the push over towards the Hookah balcony. They've completely rotated now towards Aqua, and it's going to be a push here with most of the team nearby. It's going to be all on enemy just to be able to hold them off. And, well, down goes Revan below. And they're just going to wait and try to push in. As enemies under fire, Shate will finish him off. And now Mouse have full control of Aqua, and they'll continue to move on forward.
Well, PENTA finding themselves on a serious back foot after those 2 picks. Shate is on low HP, but still more guns on the side of Mouse, no matter how you look at it. Blaz looking for an aggressive kill. The reason he's doing that is he's trying to bring this back somewhat in his team's favor. If he can get a cheeky kill on that balcony, it'll bring his team closer to a victory. There's only 40 seconds left here, but that's plenty of time in the eyes of mousesports. And they're just using every second available to them. That Excarosol is going to cause a lot of grief to Blaz on that anchor. Sir Boss trying to hold on to blue stairs. He can hear one underneath him. Plant going down. C4 to deny. Gas canister to deny. To deny. Gomfi's going to get a kill from the flank there, and Sleben using that Excarosol will eliminate Blaz, leaving just Hungry in a 1 versus 5. Plant not going down just yet. He's going to get 1 down. Oh, what a dodge, but Jonas finally lands the shots. And a flawless round from mousesports. They're looking so strong right now. That's 3 in a row.
And the person who needs this more than anything is Jonas. He needs that confidence boost to get him back on that level. I mean, you saw the way he was playing in his very first map. In his very first match on mousesports, his maiden voyage off of G2, if you want to call it that. He was playing on Maestro. He was very odd decision-making skills, which usually can be his strong suit, but weren't at all in that matchup. You remember he had 3 Evil Eyes, or the 2 Evil Eyes or whatever. Sorry, not 3. I was thinking of Valkyrie.
Yeah, it's
the 2 Evil Eye cams that were still in his pocket. He hadn't set down his barbed wire either, and he was running around trying to peek through the door of Cafe. It was odd to say. And I mean, it's very easy for somebody like Jonas, who's been a staple of that G2 squad all the way back when they were called PENTA, to be in a position where you get demotivated and you get burnt out. And right now, he and Slevin, I mean, Slevin doing most of the work, but he and Slevin right now combining for 11 kills. A lot of it have been Jonas helping clean up. 1 death. He's been evading all of Penta's wrath, and the only time that, you know, he died was that round that Penta won. But other than that, he's been almost picture perfect in the way that he's been taking his engagements, the way he's been playing. And it seems to be almost a return to form for Jonas. We haven't really seen him utilized in that same way. And he's not going to be utilized as the main entry like he was on G2. You know, when Kanto Raketti stepped in, Jonas's roles got shuffled around. And now the same thing is going to be on mousesports with Jonas stepping in and playing more support, maybe flex-oriented roles. In this case, he's been fragging, and we'll see what he does on defense. Maybe he's going to be playing more anchor support roles, or if they're going to put him on something a bit more mobile. But for the time being, he needed, like I said, this confidence boost. And so far, he's got it, and I think the more that this team, this mouse team, works together, and the more that they're able to iron out the kinks, it's going to, you know, almost be a weight off of their shoulders. And, oh no, you're going to need Jonas to do an awful lot more now as Blast just absolutely shuts down Sleben, and Comfy will be on his heels.
Oh, the timing there, and 2 for Blaz. He'll finally be shut down, though, and there you go. It's Jonas. Speak of the devil. Also trying to challenge onto Sunrise Bar, and oh, a beautiful shot! Ravon goes down, and that's 2 on in answer of Blaz's 2, so well done from Jonas recovering that round. It looked like Penta were going to take full control. It looked like they had everything going in their favor, but while mousesports have lost all of their soft destruct, well, the majority of their soft destruction, they have managed to keep the man count even, thanks to Jonas's efforts. Enemy playing by the blue bar. He's been found out, and he'll relocate. Playing inside of office is not the end of the world. One thing to note here is that mousesports are playing entirely by the kitchen side and open area. So they have a lot of control, but it's tentative because it's easy for their opponents to flank this and regain control because of this vertical pressure. The drop in the middle of the map allows for those vertical roamers to come back to roost anytime they want to. And the play downstairs, while relevant, is not going to get you the round, considering it's hookah.
This has alleviated some of that pressure by taking out the shock wires from below, allowing Bonesy to open up whatever he wants, and then possibly wait and dare Penta to try and engage. But a lot of patience right now from the Penta squad. And I think this round is really going to boil down to who peaks first. If it's a game of chicken, it's going to be who checks first. And in this case, Penta just standing sentinel for the time being. They know that Mouse has to come to them. That's the way that this works. You can put as much pressure on the defenders as you can. That's what Bonesy's trying to do. But outside of Gridlock, you don't really have all that much utility anymore. Jonas is going to essentially just be a pure fragger at this point. Still 3 tracks available. Those stingers can get tossed out at any point from Gridlock, try and immobilize the remaining members of Penta. Enemy is now headed on downstairs, so it'll be a 2v2 on site as Mouse looks ready to start their push. Jonas desperately trying to figure out where this Jaeger is. Can't determine him. He finds him though, and now Jonas can try to move up towards the site. That's 3 kills for him on the round, and he's playing big where he needs to. Servos guns down shot to him. It's the smoke. Then you have Bonesy going for the plant, but no, he'll get dropped by the smoke. It's going to be all on Jonas's shoulders, but there's time running out, and he needs to run through a very narrow area that Servos has completely covered, and Penta will take their second round. Based upon, once again, this hookah defense working so well for them in a bit. Too straightforward and late of a gambit from Mouse.
So Blaz did a lot of work inside of kitchen. Big plays from Blaz, managing to get 2 kills. Following that, mousesports spent about 1 minute 30 seconds downstairs. Then they rotated to Aquarium. They didn't have enough time to execute from Aquarium, and that's the end of the story. Tons of utility on the side of Penta, despite the man count being even. There was just denial abound. And, well, Penta used their denial. They placed it in the dying seconds of the round, and the Mouse had no options. Their smokes were even working against them at that point. So, nice try from Mouse. Good job to Jonas is what I would say. He had a really individually stellar round. But Penta just waited, and it worked.
And it's very easy to look at those and think that they might be impactless kills because you didn't win the round, and I think that's kind of an incorrect way of looking at that, right? Those were impactful kills getting to the point that you were at. They end up becoming impactless because you lose the round. But they were locking down roamers, working as a successful entry, and then alleviating the worry and concern that your teammates would have about somebody still lurking off-site. And that was what the Jaeger did at the very final closing moments of round 5 before Jonas rappelled on up to try and help in Aquarium. Now, Jonas could have possibly been maybe more aggressive, but I think that his patience was exactly what was needed, because if there's somebody playing off-site, you rely on your 2 members of your team to try and cover that area. It's a 2v2, as I had mentioned in the cast, and you hope that they can pull it off. Now, the only utility, like I said, they had was the gridlock, and it's very difficult to utilize your utility well when the defenders are playing so far away from you.
So this is really interesting. It's going to be a penthouse defense for the last defensive round for Penta. Usually, we don't see a lot of this. Penthouse is not considered to be the best site on Coastline. It's not terrible. It's not, but it's not amazing, certainly. And a lot of teams just don't go there. Jonas going to get up close, and we'll lose the fight to Serbas, but there is a refrag. Actually, it's a trade. And Ravon on to Slebin. It's just a constant back and forth here between these teams. An absolute mess over by Billiards, and nice flank hold here from Gonfi. Just locking it down. But there's still one player inside of Hookah for the defense. I believe that is enemy, P90 Doc. He'll be shut down by Shate. Spray through the wall. Good information from Boonsey to allow that to happen. Likely some marks coming out there. It's just going to be Blaz and Hungry now in the 2 versus 3. There's lots of time here for Mouse, and control established. You can see Hungry trying to get a flank off here. Gonfi's going to nade that flank, and what a nade indeed as Hungry goes down. Blaz has won these before, but it is not looking easy the way that Mouse have been playing.
A 1v3, as long as Mouse sticks together, hard to choke this one and throw it away, even though the carbine in the hands of Blast is a very strong and formidable weapon. Doesn't really matter. Any possible way for Blast to be able to rotate is going to be cut off, as you can hear one round of those stingers get thrown down, and Blast will have the deployable shield to play around. Oh, he takes the head off of Bonesy! Looking for another, firing through the wall, won't hit any of his targets. Both Gonfi and Shate are hurt. It's not a fatal blow. It sounds like this might be stingers on the heels of the Jaeger, and Blast might be in trouble. He looks longingly over towards VIP, and he's not going to see anything. Still trying to tap away at this wall, and here's the problem, is both members of Mouse are going to have to funnel on in through that singular doorway. The smoke will be possibly their undoing, but oh no! He's caught Shate looking! And now it's up to Gonfi to be able to take him out. A long-range fight that will favor the ACOG, and Gonfi will have that at his disposal, but now he's cut off by the fact that there is smoke. The Maestro cameras are going to be able to do continuous work as now Gonfi moves on over towards VIP, making quite a racket. He's going to worry as he flicks around, and this is a very winnable fight, and Blast looking for it! Oh my god! The man, the myth, the legend, Blast with 3 kills in a 1v3, and what a performance coming out for him. Mouse, I know I said you had to stick together, but not like that. Nobody bothered to head on over towards VIP. Nobody tried to head on over towards Hall of Fame, and y'all tried to go through the same door one by one, and staggered as you may be, it is totally ineffective, and Penta draw even on a round that likely should have gone in favor of Mouse.
Shouldn't be allowed to get that clutch, but Blaz manages to win it out off his talent. There were opportunities there for Mouse to get that last kill, by the way. Multiple opportunities where they could have secured the Jaeger. I mean, even on the last operator when he was pushing in there, the sledge, he saw Blaz, and he just didn't shoot him. Well, it is what it is. We'll be going to Hookah for Mouse's very first defense. This is the most played site today on Coastline. 3 times there from Penta. Now, first here for Mouse. And again, the mute being brought. No Mozzie, though. Gridlock is still a staple for both teams, it seems. And the Nomad to double up on that flank watch potential from Penta. Quite interesting. They're worried about potential flanks. Now, okay, so one thing that's interesting is if you can bring enough flank watch, and then you could concentrate your operator's efforts entirely on the site take. It's really important that that flank watch be, solid. So if you bring like an air jab, that air jab can get shot by a suppressed weapon, and then you have no idea you're being flanked if you don't have drones on it. So you have 5 alive, everyone's focused on the take. Air jab can absolutely screw you if you play it incorrectly. You bring the stingers, and an impact and then an immediate rush. Maybe you'll catch you off guard. It's unlikely, but it could happen. That's why people are bringing the Gridlock so much lately, is because she's usually a little bit better at that flank watch than Nomad. You bring both of them, though, and then what the heck is... what is the defense supposed to do? Upside down repel, going to catch Slevin off guard. He couldn't see his opponent, but Blaz could see him quite easily. So some damage dished out there to Slevin, giving an early advantage to Penta. And because you can bring those two flank watch operators, as I was trying to say, that means that you can focus everybody on your site take, which is really great. Or your roam clear, depending on what you're trying to do. Right now, Penta are going for a sunrise bar clear, and that is a roam.
Their first hurdle, quite literally, is going to be that bar, and while Shate falls, he's a very important operator that's not going to be available for Mouse, as the Maestro is off the board. And Penta will continue to try to flush out the remaining members of Mouse inside of Sunrise Bar. It's Slevin who's going to provoke a fight against Revan, and he's going to take an awful lot of HP in the process. Revan just waiting patiently as the Jaeger has now been downed, and Comfy comes to his rescue. And Bonesy takes out Blast. There goes Jonas, there goes Comfy. Slevin is downed. It's all up to Bonesy. So Penta, within the matter of 10 seconds, has managed to clear out every single member of Mouse, except for Bonesy. We've seen Bonesy clutch before. You saw him in Sao Paulo clutch against Black Dragons when he was on Ents, and that squad won the championship because of it. So he's uniquely positioned. He might actually be able to get Slevin up as the Jaeger's going to crawl to him, and nobody from Penta can pounce upon that fast enough. Look at how low Hungry's HP is. This is winnable for Mouse, especially if they can take either enemy or Revan out of action. But through the punch hole on the bottom, there's Hungry. He doesn't need a lot of HP to frag well. He'll take out Slevin, and Bonesy, still at full HP, will have to move on in. Might want to pull out the shotgun, though. Diffuser going down for Penta on their very first attack, and it's a trade. Bonesy gets enemy, but there's Hungry there in the process, and he doesn't need to do all that much. Positioned where he is, Penta will take the lead. The first time since round number 1.
Well done to Penta there, winning their first attack. Now, Mouse. Okay, so definitely an overinvestment in the roam downstairs, but of course that's just because it didn't pay off. They had somebody playing by the kitchen. That person was punished. It was Gomfy as he was trying to come and support his teammate. And because he was punished, put on low HP, he was finished off later. And overall, the crossfire that Penta was able to establish by the Sunrise Bar was pretty awesome. I'd say superb is a good word to use to describe it. And it didn't seem like Mouse were prepared for it. Too much pressure being pushed onto the Sunrise roamers, and not enough answer back. You know, when you're putting pressure like that, when there's crossfires being set up on you as a roamer in Sunrise, and you've invested so much manpower downstairs, and it's clear that your intention is to hold on to Sunrise, then you need to actually get some aggressive plays in. You need to actually challenge head first, you know, take the fights, instead of just waiting for your opponent to get to the angles to then, you know, finish you off and take the advantage. We saw examples of that from Lestream. When Lestream was defending Kitchen in their last 2 rounds, they were aggressively holding on to Sunrise Bar in just the match prior. And because we saw aggression from them, they were able to make those roams work out for them instead of those crossfires, the same crossfires that Penta were just using, costing them in the long run. So Mouse need to adjust the way that they roam on Sunrise a little bit if they want to do that again.
Possibly trying to set up some different tempo, if you want to call it that.
Yep.
Well, you saw the possible spawn peek from Gomfy there as he looked out the door as the Valkyrie holding the angle onto the pool as he threw out a Valkyrie camera 2. Given the fact that Sir Boss has IQ as his operator, I'm imagining that the Valkyrie camera that was thrown outside will be detected pretty quickly, and just like that, zip-zap, it'll be removed. But I mean, he's looking the wrong way. Very similar setup from Penta here. They're going to be pushing in through Sunrise Bar, and you know that there's a Jaeger in play of Slevin, sitting on top of an ADS, hoping that it catches something in the process. There's one set of frag grenades and one set of smokes on the board for Penta. Those will be something to keep an eye out. Additionally, Blast will have the ability to disrupt and concuss with 2 of his grenades out of the lifeline. He's currently looking to try to provoke a fight with Gomfy inside of the kitchen.
This challenge inside a kitchen is quite interesting. 2 players stacked up here from Mouse, and they're playing very passively again. You could see the pressure coming from Ravon over by delivery could actually be these players undoing, but they actually, okay, they've mostly rotated. Valkyrie's still here though. The lifeline's coming out. I'm amazed that Ravon just got down there. A poor challenge from Penta, and he will be finished off by Jonas. And the Valkyrie is still alive inside of Kitchen. This is an absolutely horrendous take so far from Penta. The pressure being applied at the worst possible times. Gomfi will be downed, it seems, but so much effort just for that.
I think that was the lifeline that actually downed Gomfi too, and he's in a position where he can be picked back up as long as he just crawls to cover in Kitchen behind the range and the stoves that are in front of him, and that's exactly what will happen. Gomfi is back from the dead, or at least down but not out. Blaz losing a lot of HP. I can't believe Revan was able to get in that far without anybody challenging him. Yeah, but let alone he couldn't find anybody in the process.
Yeah, he got in really far, and then he accomplished nothing. Was shut down by Jonas, who came up from main lobby. It was a very weird round there. Well, very weird beginning to the round.
Here's Sir Boss and Blast both taking some damage too from above. There's Hungry on Repel. Very hard to beat that perspective, and because of that, Gomfi has nothing. And keep in mind, he was downed earlier on, so it's not going to be that much that would have been able to work against him. Shate is on the anchor role now. If you got Jonas on more of this flex support that he's been doing quite well on. He got a kill earlier in the round. He's looking to look for more. As down goes Jonas, though, he won't accomplish that. Sir Boss circles on in, and now it's Mouse who have lost the plot, with Penta holding a distinct advantage, and it will continue to roll forward as now Shate gets found out. Bonesy, in the midst of his own smoke, won't be able to determine Blaz's location, and even though they were in the process of getting the diffuser down, Penta won't need it, because it ends up being kills that win them the round rather than the objective. The smoke trying his best to be hidden inside a pink, but it will do them no good, and a round that, as you said, was going horrendously for Penta ended up turning around in their favor.
Yeah, so the clear on the roamers downstairs was really poorly executed for Penta. It cost them a lot of manpower. However, when they shifted and then went over to their Aqua take, everything started working out for them amazingly because they set themselves up perfectly. One on hookah balcony to apply pressure to the flank of the defensive Mouse. One on the big window rappel just overside billiards to, well, cut off rotation, put down those stingers as well as the smokes to cover visual for the defense. And then just one person pushing in through Aqua to go for that plant. And overall, that take was just really well executed from Penta on the site. The roam clear was really bad. And here's another thing. This is important. The roamers that persisted downstairs on the side of Mouse were not unpunished, and more importantly, accomplished little to nothing other than being successful on denying downstairs. But that's not relevant. They wasted a little bit of time. They got some kills, but they weren't able to deny the plant in sight. You know, they weren't able to deny the actual take. They weren't able to influence the round apart from simply holding on to Kitchen, and on a hookah defense that is not amazingly important. However, again, getting some guns off the board is good. It's just not, wasn't enough in the end. Just because of how well Penta set themselves up to actually take the site.
They also picked off Mouse one by one because Mouse had no crossfire potential. Mouse were not in a position where they could have stopped Penta, and this is something that's happened with a couple teams that we've seen so far today. It plagued Chaos in game number 1. It hurt Vitality a little bit in game number 2, though I don't think it was a big issue of Vitality's play, but it's also hurting Mouse here. Mouse are often so disconnected from one another, or put together in positions where, even though they're grouped up, they're not looking in different angles. I go back to that defense that Penta was holding, wherein Mouse was all funneling in through the same doorway. Mouse have not established themselves as a unit. They've been playing as individuals a lot of these rounds. Individuals that are fragging well when set up to do so, but have so infrequently put themselves in positions to do so.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think you said it perfectly. I think the coordination on Penta is really what's shining as well. I mean, again, those last 3 players when executing upstairs last round was beautiful. Hungry gonna land a beautiful shot. Lots of that going on as Blaz also takes down Slevin. And here we go. Mouse, 2-man down early on. That's just 1 minute to get 2 kills there for Penta. We've seen some slide backs here in this match from both teams, some retakes and some comebacks in the rounds. But right now, Penta setting themselves up very well to take this round and put this onto match point. They pretty much have top floor control. I can't really see all of it. It looks like, yeah, they've taken full top floor control. And they're going to be able to turn that into vertical pressure. C4 will miss from below from Gomfi. That's really unfortunate for Mouse. And Gomfi's going to get aggressive on the window that Hungry is playing, but this is not an easy challenge for the Valkyrie. Overall, Penta in a great spot as they're starting to deny bar now.
There's no reason to suggest that this entire floor that enemy is on top of will remain intact. Frag grenade goes down and doesn't connect, at least for the time being. Gomfi playing super aggressively just in the open, but he'll challenge Ravon, and Ravon taking quite a bit of damage in the process. Wins the fight. Jonas wins the fight against Hungry, and Blast will actually physically get hit by the toxic canister. Punishes Jonas, and now it's a 4v1 as Bonesy's trying his best around the doorway. Moves on in, he knows that he has almost complete coverage, but for the second time in 3 rounds, Penta will get the diffuser down. Waiting to see exactly what's going to happen from the smoke, and he goes nowhere. Ravon has the angle, he has the information, and he will have the kill too. I believe they say that's having your kill and eating it too, maybe? Quote.
I don't know that's a thing that anyone says. Except for, I guess you said it. You said it, so it's been said.
6-3 Penta, match point.
Match point, and that's really the story here. mousesports had some really beautiful rounds, but a lot of them came down to individual performances. I'm looking at you, Jonas. He really clutched hard on that blue bar attack in that 1 versus 1 when things looked super desperate. He's had some individual performances really stand out as well earlier in the match. Overall, Penta's coordination, their teamwork, has just been another level above mousesports right now. I'm seeing a lot of also aggressive plays, overly aggressive plays from Mouse. I have no clue why Gomfi thought it would be prudent to prone in the middle of Sunrise Bar. Not by the bar, but just kind of in the middle of the room. Of course, I'm sure he had a plan, but it really didn't work out. So usually when you're at the man disadvantage, sometimes those aggressive plays can catch your opponent off guard, and you can equalize. You can bring things back, and I'm guessing that's what Gomfi was trying to do, but he got punished for it because Penta checked. And if they ever check when you're playing something like that, then you lose.
Only 1 point here on the board for mousesports, as a win will elude them, so they will continue on without one yet through their 3rd week. At least Penta has guaranteed themselves a point, so that slow march back to the top will continue onwards. They trailed their closest adversary by 2 points, mind you, though they entered the day in 7th place. It was Mouse sitting in last, and they were a -10 when it comes to round differential, and there's a possibility for it to get worse before it gets better. Penta could put this one away here as we sit on match point, and will do so for the next 2 rounds after this one.
I'm going to repeat something that we were both saying at the beginning of the match. If it be that Mouse wins 3 rounds in a row and we go to a draw, it would be an absolutely devastating loss for both of them.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And it must be demoralizing at this point. You know, I think from some of the plays that we saw out of Mouse over the last 2 rounds that there's obviously some kind of mental anguish, I think, that's going on right now at the state of
you can
the way
say
that their team is playing, and the way that you can also see from just the way they played in this matchup in particular. Oh! Sleben tries for the jump out, and Gomfi finds 1 for his trouble, so 2 for Mouse onto the board, refragged only once, as there's Sleben removed, as Gomfi will get away unscathed. Penta's sights are currently turned towards the office, and some utility will be expended in the process, but there will be nobody there on the receiving end of it from Mouse.
We've seen Penta recover from these scenarios already in this match a few times, so the fact that Penta has been reduced to 3 players is not the end of the world. One still inside of office, seemingly unknown to Ravon, that's going to be Gomfi. Another support in that security hallway, that'll be Jonas. So there's a good setup here from mousesports. They even have a player above the office drop. So it's 3-man emphasis on this office. Needs to be the strategy from mousesports, just leaving Chate to hold the actual site. I mean, it could work out. It's certainly working right now. It is seemingly distracting, if nothing else, Penta, and has already cost them 2 men. You can see Hungry trying to cut off rotation there from upside repel. He's going to throw down some stingers to do the job for him, and then start applying pressure to Billiards itself.
A minute to play with here. I'm waiting for Jonas to possibly push on up, but he'll refrag enemy quite well, and this is what Mouse needed. Mouse needed to be at each other's positions to have their own teammates' backs. And Gomfi with the run out will close this gap ever so slightly. As you said, fighting for that 1 point. Mouse will take Hookah for the very first time, and the very first defensive round victory for them as well, which will move them towards another site.
Now, the teamwork got better for Mouse in that round, but it mostly came down to them just stacking on each other. we had at one point 4 players on Mouse defending Office, and then they made the rotate at the perfect opportunity to cut off Penta, who pushed into Aquarium, so good on them. But yeah, there was a very heavy emphasis placed on 1 point from Mouse was the strategy there, and Penta were not able to take the ground that they wanted. From there, they rotated, but it took them so long that in the midst of that rotation and falling off of the initial take, they lost too much manpower to be able to recover. So that's a really good defense from Mouse. If you're having trouble working together, sometimes the right call is to just stack everyone in one place and be like, here we go, refrag each other. It worked. And Penta were really, I think, distracted by how many angles they had to hold. You could see it really well from Hungry's perspective through that round. He just had so many different angles to manage. And it ended up being overwhelming for Penta. And mousesports took the fact that Penta were off step and turned that into runouts, which turned into kills.
I think the big story just was also Mouse finally playing like a team.
Again, they stacked on each other.
They stacked on each other, and they played very well with one another at arm's length. And that is in stark contrast to when we saw Mouse pushing on in towards Penthouse 1 by 1 by 1. And I mean, granted, if you don't have the soft destruction, it can be very difficult to tackle that. And if the walls are reinforced next to the doorway, actually leading into theater, then, you know, in the absence of hard destruction, you can't really do all that much. But VIP was almost completely opened up. You could have very easily positioned somebody over there. And I think Mouse are learning from their mistakes, slowly but surely. Once again, they have to push for a draw here, as there's only 1 point on the table. And Penta's entry will come on over from Hookah and possibly challenge down towards 90. Often referred to as Jaeger spot. Well, there's Sleben the Jaeger playing in that position. Air jabs will go down for good measure over by Hookah and Cool Vibes, which eliminates a part of the map that we'll see Mouse be able to roam through, at least without being detected and knocked over in the process.
Good information being gathered here from Blaz. Blaz has been playing absolutely out of his mind through this match, and if he gets shot down on this push, it would be a crippling blow for Penta in this round. Comfy's going to take down Hungry, who has also been performing decently well. And that's going to be the Stingers no longer on the side of Penta, but there's a refrag here, and on Jonas no less. That's huge. Jonas, the top performer for mousesports so far through this one. And there you go. Blaz gets yet another kill. Makes his number go ever so higher. Penta with full top 4 control on match point in a 4 versus 2. It's looking all but over for mousesports.
Yeah, 4v2 with the defenders being the 2 in a kitchen defense. That gets pretty messy pretty quickly, especially with all the soft destruction that's being brought for the time being. There will be some return fire, though, from Bonesy through the floor onto Blaz. Penta's top performer will now take a seat alongside Jonas, but Bonesy suffering for it. I believe they say, at what cost? And to the cost of Bonesy was 95 HP. Still have more soft destruction going out as Penta's going to bide their time. They've got the luxury of it as there's only 50 seconds to wrestle with.
With Bonesy on low HP, this looks really bad for mousesports. Shate's going to have a pretty amazing round, and those gas canisters from Bonesy are going to have to be perfectly placed in order for this to be a win for the defense.
I mean, at this point, you can just simply waltz on into delivery and maybe try to get somebody planted or get the diffuser planted. In this case, Sir Boss is holding on to that diffuser, and he's above the site. That is going to be a challenge. 20 seconds to go. You're going to have to reposition at some point. You just spotted both members of defense. You know that they're going to be situated in between the 2 sites, so where do you go from there? Well, Sir Boss is going to have to hurry. It's going to be up to Revan to literally just jump on in. Oh, he takes out Bonesy. Shate is still there. Revan will take quite a bit of damage, stuck in the goo mine. He gets downed. Enemy walks up, looks at it, and he puts it away. And Penta, despite the fact that it goes a little bit closer than they wanted, will find their very first victory of the season, and Mouse will still find their first point and look for it, maybe, on playday number 4. But Penta the victors today, and Blast in particular, what a performance on his shoulders, leading the way for the team. Effective entry and fragging well on a fragging map.
I mean, that's the story, really.
14 kills.
Beautiful job there from Blaz. Penta with the win, and yes, a beautiful job from Blaz, but why did Penta win? They won because they worked together, man. Like, that's it. What we were seeing from Mouse there was their very, very rare teamwork. It just seems like they're all somewhere else entirely. I remember I used the term earlier today, playing on an island. That seemed to be the story for everyone on Mouse through that match.
Which ocean is the island on?
We're not going back there, Parker. We were there during the break because we had to be, but we're not going back there. They're just, turn a phrase, okay? You know, they're just playing by themselves. No teamwork. Very little teamwork. The rounds where we saw Mouse actually bring the teamwork, though, seriously, like they looked so good, but it was a rare occurrence.
Mouse are still trying to figure out how to work as a team, and I think that's the big storyline too, is that there were a couple rounds where PENTA were really disconnected from one another. They could take map control, but then they couldn't translate it through the mid-round, and then their execute would fall to pieces. There were times on defense where they just looked like they were getting gunned down one by one, and they had no answer, and we saw the same thing from Mouse too. How many times did somebody from Mouse get picked, and there was nobody within the same area code to be able to do anything to help them? And through a couple of rounds at the end, even though we still saw of those final 3 rounds, 2 go in favor of PENTA, I liked what I saw out of Mouse a lot more over those final 3 rounds than I did for most of the game, even in some of the rounds that Mouse had won previously, because they positioned themselves so they could shut down anybody from the defense who tried to start a fight, and there was somebody there from Mouse waiting very patiently or quite aggressively, depending on the play that we saw out of that team. More of that. And you know that the gun skill that Mouse has will always translate well. Better decision making, possibly better IGLing, and better actual coordinated team play, and Mouse can start to climb up. But they are, at the moment, finding themselves essentially in free fall as they have yet to collect a point over 3 games.
I think if I'm Mouse, what would be going through my head? You know, I know we're talking about Mouse a lot. PENTA did win it, but they had a well-coordinated, well-put-together match. They used a lot of teamwork, and one of the things, again, to highlight the teamwork thing that we've been talking about, one of the things that if I'm Mouse that I think needs to be done is to establish basic, you know, understanding of who needs to do what. You know, it's really simple stuff. Like, for example, on attack, what did you notice Hungry was doing through the majority of those attacking rounds? He was putting himself on rotation cutoff as the gridlock, and he was doing a great job of that. You know, every time he found himself between his teammates and the enemy, he got picks, he cut off visual line of sight with the smokes, he was throwing out his stingers to cut off rotation. Really basic stuff. That sort of like, hey, you go there, basic understanding thing where you're cutting off rotation or you're pushing somebody in through to take the site. That would be really helpful. From Mouse on their attacks, a lot of the time they were just, hey, let's everyone push in through aquarium. And maybe one person watches flank. That's not coordination, that's just, hey, let's go.
You have flank watch on a dedicated flank watch operator too, right?
Yeah.
That's a scary thing. Whether it be Nomad on that, whether you might even have it on Jackal if you have him on flank watch, which is a rarity these days. Gridlock in particular, very effective at it. But we have an interview ready with PENTA, so we'll ask them about that matchup. And then we'll go from here. How are you? Oh, that is quite the mustache.
Thank you.
How are you, enemy?
I'm fine, and you, Antero?
I'm good. Congratulations on your victory today. Now, I want to touch.
Finally.
I wanted to touch upon something with your team play today, because it seemed like there were a couple rounds where you worked really, really effectively as a team, and other rounds where it completely fell apart. Was this due to Mouse successfully picking apart the defense and the attacks, or was this simply due to miscommunication on your team's part?
For me, it's like both. It can be as well like Mouse really playing really good and like the aggressive player and like really good player, but also it's our part, because sometimes we are like this. PENTA, it's like the past week versus the match of Empire, we miss some basics team play and we can really fail a round, and yeah, it's happened like this sometimes with us.
Now, is team play the thing that you imagine your team needs to improve upon the most after your first 2 play days? Because surely after those 2 losses and performing below, I assume, what are your own expectations, you must have identified a major weakness to work on moving forward.
Yes, it's a kinda part of the strat. We need to strat more for sure, and we have to have more automatism, because sometimes we don't have some automatism we should have in this level, and also like touch each other. It's like all the time we have to keep work on it, I guess, for everyone.
Perfect. Now, Coastline tends to be one of your stronger maps, and we didn't have as much information on Mouse. Were you surprised that they took you to that map, or were you expecting it?
No, because we chose like the on the map veto. We had the team choose the last map, like the last two maps. So we chose Coastline between Coffee, of course, and I mean we changed little things before the match versus Mouse because we'll know they will play aggressively and stuff. But it was not so. To be honest, it was not working. For example, I play Sledge to nade a lot, but we 6-pick all the time the Thatcher to play an IQ because Gonfi is playing Gonfi, or I don't remember, Valkyrie, really good. So yeah, we try to do something versus them, but it didn't work like good. What worked today is like Blast was incredible on his clutching and his skilled, and everyone else like doing this job really good, and calling, it was really like more for that we won, sorry.
So, outside of teamwork, as you look towards the remaining 4 play days that you have between now and the break, what is going to be your biggest focus as a team to try to climb up those standings and contend at the top of Europe?
For me, the best thing we have to do is like trust each other, and also work on our mistake, like effectively like the team play, and have automatism. It's our big mistake. We don't have automatism sometime on basic things. So we have to work on it really better, for sure.
Well, all the best moving forward. I'm sure we'll see you again. Anything to say to the other teams, the viewers, the fans, etc. before we end the interview?
Yeah, thank you a lot for your support. Even if we do already 2 lose and just 1 win, we still want to improve, and we still are guys really motivated. So thank you for your support, and yes, bye bye. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care.
Thank you, too. Bye.